All right, guys, welcome back to a Real Talk style video, but we're going to do this live so I can talk to you guys. I wanted to hear from some of you guys. I know it's early morning Sunday, so a lot of you guys might not be available right now, but I wanted to talk to you guys about the T-Rex arm situation. Now, typically, I'm not one for drama. I really try to stay away from it, but this is kind of news that's too big to ignore, and I want to give you guys my thoughts and feelings and also hear from you guys about the whole situation. So, as many of you probably already know by now, Lucas dropped his video last night, and I was one of the first people to watch it within the first hour of it being released, and it did really surprise me. So, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the situation, and just to be honest, if you want like one soundbite, one too long didn't read, pretty much T-Rex Arms is dead. It sounds like Lucas was taken advantage of by his brothers that he trusted in order to give up his majority share. Now, let me preface this all with saying, I don't know Lucas. I don't know his brothers. I've never been sent anything from T-Rex Arms. I've purchased products from them in the past, but that is the extent of which I know Lucas. I don't know them at all. So this is all based off of his video and all the available information that's out there to everybody else. I don't have any insider information for that matter, but I wanted to just say it sounds like he was convinced to give up his majority share ownership in 2016. He started the company in 2013. He was convinced by his brothers who wanted to come on board to give up his majority share, and essentially not knowing at the time what that meant, in his own words, pretty much gave up the direction of the company and was pretty much just the face of it thereon moving forward. Another brother came in. He took even more of the lion's share of his shares in the company, which then again reduced him even further as far as like being able to make decisions for the company that he started, and then essentially was continuously disrespected. His wife in particular, seemed like things really started to come to light for Lucas. Seems like his wife kind of helped him to see that he was being taken advantage of. And then, one thing after another, we can kind of go through. I don't know if I want to, I'm trying to decide if I want to go, how long I want this live to be. If I want to go through every single detail, I guess we might as well. Pretty much his wife, they met. His wife started saying, "Hey, I think you're really kind of being taken advantage of." Lucas explained that a lot of his relationships were transactional at the time, which again kind of goes against what he was saying with getting his brothers on board. Again, that's kind of just family trusting family. Saying, "Oh, you're my brother. Let's do this. Let's grow this business." But it sounds like they didn't even bring any equity in to the business when they became majority owners. It sounds like he just brought them on and they didn't invest any money into the business besides their time. So, what's up, gentlemen? Thanks for joining the chat. I'm going to get to the comments in a second. I just want to kind of get all this out on the table because watching it last night, it was very heartbreaking to hear just my own channel. Like I put myself in his shoes, which my channel is nowhere near the size of T-Rex Arms, their YouTube channel, let alone their business, obviously. And to think that someone would come in and just pretty much pry or wedge themselves in between you and the thing that you created, that you love, that you dedicated your life to, and then eventually you having to walk away from it. I ended that video with a lot more respect for Lucas than I already had, and just thinking, man, I think he's doing the right thing, and I think he's honestly put the final nail in the coffin for T-Rex Arms. I also want to just say I'm not trying to get people to stop buying T-Rex Arms products. I don't want those people to be unemployed. I don't want them to be out of work. That's a really bad situation as well. But at the same time, a lot of people, including myself, equate T-Rex Arms with Lucas Botkin. So if he's gone, then, there's no T-Rex Arms, in my opinion. Like, he was the face of the company. So I think that his brothers made three major errors. Number one, they screwed him. I mean, they screwed him over. It sounds like greed. Sounds like just a good old-fashioned case of greed there. And then number two, they ostracized his wife. His wife had applied for a job at T-Rex Arms. There was no reply. They didn't even get a call back from the HR manager. And then that was one instance of many instances of them feeling like slighted. They had her sign a prenup when their wives hadn't signed prenups or postnups. Again, he kind of goes into all this. It was like a 30-minute video, and I'm trying to summarize it. I might even pull it up. Who knows? they made so it was the good old fashioned greed they had at the beginning, kind of screwing him out of his lion's share of his company without him really understanding what that meant at the time, and without even bringing capital in. It sounds like then they ostracized his wife. Kind of sounds like they did not like her, treated her like a black sheep, and also kind of treated him accordingly because they were together. And then they never moved Lucas off the screen. That was the other major error that they made. Lucas has been up until literally his resignation. Nobody even saw. I mean, I didn't see this coming at all. He was the face of the company. He was in every single video. He was talking about the new products. He was doing all the reviews. And I know they started sprinkling guys in here and there, guys of which I don't even know their names because I didn't watch them enough. Before I started my channel, I was a fan of Lucas and Trex Arms. I watched all of his videos. And so that was another huge error for them, because if they want to try to pivot and pull a SIG, maybe they don't see. I don't know if they're going to address it now that Lucas's video dropped. So the timeline of events, just take a step back. It's pretty much Lucas announced that he is resigning or resigned from Trex Arms. Then Trex Arms, his brother Isaac, put out a video, which again, I don't know Isaac personally. Up until this, I really had a lot of respect for Isaac and all the work he's done. I'm not saying I don't have respect for him now. It's very murky. Lucas didn't put out all the details of like which brother's son sent illicit photos to his wife. Again, people make mistakes. I'm not here to judge. I'm trying very hard not to judge. I'm just trying to go over from a business perspective the mistakes that were made on T-Rex's part, and the reason I think T-Rex is going to fail miserably now that Lucas is gone, quite honestly. And maybe they won't. I mean, I have one of their holsters. I like it. But just based off purely them positioning themselves as this Christian company, and then all this, this dirt, so to speak, comes up, which again, I'm not trying to judge, but it's just speaking from a business perspective. A lot of people did business with Trex Arms because they like Lucas. They like what the company stood for. I like that it was a family-owned company. And now you see like all the family drama coming out, and every family's got drama. But again, going back to the original point, Isaac came out with a video and again was extremely vague. Like there was an employee who sent inappropriate photos to someone close to Lucas, like very vague. Not like, and Lucas like was just like, hey, what's up? You guys want to come after me, my wife? One of your sons sent pornographic images to my wife. Like no more vague, no more gray area. This is what happened. My wife's integrity is being called into question. My integrity is being called into question. And he's like, here's the truth. And if you believe him, which, I don't think he has any reason to lie. I believe him. Then it's kind of a pretty powerful, like mic drop moment. And again, that's why I think it's like the nail in the coffin for T-Rex. So the last mistake they made, besides not having anybody on camera, and then, okay, the last line of events is Lucas announces via a photo on Instagram that he's resigning from Trex. Isaac on the Trex Arms channel puts out a video very vaguely explaining that Lucas, there's been some differences. There was one incident that escalated this, and then Lucas resigned. Extremely vague, leaving kind of everybody speculating about what happened. And then Lucas dropped this video yesterday, which is why I felt like it was very important to talk about this today. And the last mistake that they made was, and the biggest mistake in my opinion, was not accepting Lucas's buyout offer. That was another thing that he talked about in his video, which is that he obviously like loves Trex Arms and had a lot of plans for Trex Arms in the future. So he sent a proposal, a letter of intent to purchase Trex Arms from them, and they turned it down. And then he met some dudes at a bar who recognized him, who like said, hey, we appreciate everything you're doing, which as a YouTuber, I don't get recognized very often. My channel is pretty small, but when it happens, I'm like, what do I do with my hands? It's like, it's a very surreal moment. And usually, I mean, actually not usually, every single time people are like, hey, I love your stuff. And it's a really rewarding feeling to meet real people when you're sitting here talking to a camera and just editing all day. You don't get to feel that feedback real time, like with real emotion and facial expressions. So I get where he's coming from for sure. And he had some guys recognize him, said, hey, we really appreciate everything you're doing. And so what he did was he went back and he upped his offer. And when he upped his offer, he said by a substantial amount. Again, I don't know what this number looks like. I have no idea what the valuation of Trex Arms is. I'm guessing a couple $1 million. I have no clue. If I had to guess, like an educated guess, probably like 1 to 3 million, it would be my guess. But again, no idea. That's a That's from thin air. I'm pulling that number. But again, he upped the offer substantially in his own words, and it was denied again. And I think that was the last and biggest issue, mistake that they made, because now they're dealing with a full-fledged, like angry husband who has been disrespected, or feels, he said in his own words, and I respect the way he phrased things, he feels that his wife and him were disrespected and that their integrity was called into question. And that's a very important thing to him. And it should be to every man, right? Like, you marry your wife, you are a unit. And you know, I'm a Christian, I'm Catholic, I'm a bad Christian, but I try. And there's two things you don't mess with is a man's wife or his family, his wife, his kids, and his dog, and his God. That's pretty much it. And you can't hurt my God, so don't mess with my family. That's pretty much. And I have a lot of respect for what Lucas said, and that was the biggest mistake in my opinion. They should have taken his buyout offer. I don't think that T-Rex Arms is going to survive much longer. After his video came out, I don't really know what they expected to happen. Maybe they expected Lucas to go quietly. I think that's probably what they expected to happen, or they expected the product to kind of stand on its own. But there are literally 1,000,000,001 holster companies out there that are all great. I mean, it's nothing against T-Rex Arms holsters, but they're not my favorite either. Like, I prefer TXC holsters. So like, people were shopping with T-Rex Arms because they like Lucas, because they like what the company stands for, because it's what they know, is that they know it works. But at the end of the day, all this drama comes out. The dude who literally built this from the ground up puts out a video pretty much explaining how it was snatched from underneath of him, not only by like any random person, but by his own family. That is like enough for people. A lot of people can relate to that, right? A lot of people have family issues. Luckily, you know, knock on wood, I love I'm lucky. My brothers and my siblings have been nothing but supportive of me my whole life. But people can relate to that. People can relate to being screwed over and being taken advantage of when you don't know any better. And that's going to piss a lot of people off. And I mean, myself included, I'm one of those people that I will support Lucas wherever he goes. I think that he came out, he spilled his heart on camera, which is not easy to do. Again, I'm talking to a lens and glass. I know there's people behind it, some bots too, but I know there's people listening, but it's just not the same as when you're in a room with somebody you trust and spilling your heart and putting your dirty laundry for the world to see. It's just, it's not an easy thing to do. So, anyways, I think that at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to have a lot more respect for Lucas, because he's a very controversial figure for whatever reason, for very basic takes he has. People will say he's an airsoft or a LARP or whatever, but like, you can't argue the guy can shoot, and I think he's done a lot of good. I think his company's done a lot of good for the industry, and it's going to piss a lot of people off. I mean, I just felt the need to make this video because his video dropped last night, and I was watching it. I mean, I watched it twice actually, because I wanted to make sure I understood what he was saying. And again, he was he left out a lot of information. He didn't speak in detail on every single topic, but he said enough to be like, hey, this ends today. And I want to respect that too. Not that not quote Sig. He pretty much said, not that this ends today. He just said, if my wife's integrity or my integrity continue to get called into question, I will do whatever it takes to speak the truth and protect my family. Which, again, strong lines. Things like this sound like a line from a movie. Pretty powerful thing to say, and I agree with him. I mean, you, as a man, you're not a man if you don't feel that way. If you don't feel like you got to do whatever you got to do to speak the truth and protect your family, then you're not a man, and you don't deserve your wife and kids. But Lucas really. And another thing he said, again, this is all coming back to me now. Another thing he said is that his wife and him put off having children or trying to have children because of all the drama and all the stress around the situation, which, again, that was a very smart move. Kids are a blessing for sure, but they are not easy on the marriage. They do not make your life easier. They definitely fill it with more love and joy and everything, all that good stuff, right? But like the day-to-day, it makes things a lot more difficult. And if you're dealing with trying to be a good father and a good husband, and on top of like your business is, you're surrounded by vultures when you go to work, or people that don't respect you and your wife and stuff. So I have a lot of respect for him waiting too, because you don't want to bring a kid into not that their house is broken, but you don't want to bring a kid into a environment like that where you can't give your best and put your best before, because it's already difficult to do that when everything else is peachy. So that's another thing that, he's around my age, I believe, and you're not getting any younger. So you want to have kids so you can see them grow old and see their kids and stuff. And so that was another thing that was being halted by this drama at work. And so again, let's just get into some of these comments, because I am going on and on. All right. Agreed. Business may topple and fall. Let's see here. After this, Lucas was literally the face of T-Rex Arms. Yes, he was. He built it from the ground up, and then even after he lost majority share, which all that was private, like nobody, I don't think anyone really knew that unless you were close to them. But even after he wasn't the majority share owner, he still was the face, and that was a huge mistake for his brothers, who again are taking over. Love the content, bro. 11.5 is king, dude. I'm leaning more 12.5 now. Don't kill me. Don't hate me. But it's just because I'm taller, and I'm really starting to experiment with the 12.5 middies. Middies are awesome. I still love my 12.5 Super Duty carbine length. I still love my 11.5s. And 11.5 carbine is pretty much 12.5 midi, kind of, sort of. But anyways, still love it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. T-Rex is over. Yeah. It ended today, SIG style, but it actually ended for T-Rex Arms, is my humble opinion. Let's see here. Watch the video, subscribe to his channel, and unsubscribe from all of T-Rex Arms channel. Lucas was T-Rex Arms. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be out here being like, we need to boycott T-Rex Arms. Not trying to do that. I know there's a lot of people employed there, and those people have lives too. Those people have mortgages. So it's a very difficult situation. That's another thing Lucas referenced as well. He's like, I didn't want to leave the people. He met with a pastor, a friend of his, who's also an entrepreneur, and he told him about all the situation that was going on. And he's like, you need to just walk away. Again, that being so difficult, but I know he's going to be fine. Like, Lucas is going to be fine. I'm not worried about Lucas. I'm more worried about the rest of the employees at T-Rex Arms, to be quite frank, because Lucas is, I mean, not only is he well known and mostly well respected within the gun community, besides a few trolls, he's a businessman. Like, he's very smart, he's sharp, he can shoot very well. Like, even if he just started a gun review channel, he would be very successful. And he's already talking about starting other businesses. So I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the other employees. And I hope that they can continue to work there and earn a living, or find work elsewhere if they do, in fact, go out of business, which is likely at this point, I think. If they wanted Lucas gone, they should have removed him from being the face of T-Rex. Yes, we covered that. I agree. The fact that he forgives his brothers speaks volumes. I wouldn't forgive them. They knew exactly what they were doing to him. Forgiveness after that is between them and God, not me. Yeah, I think, obviously, I said I'm a bad Christian, and I try very hard to, I've always been an optimistic person. So I try very hard to give people the benefit of the doubt. I have a lot of empathy, but at the same time, it's that old quote, George Bush quote, fool me once, shame on you, and fool me, there ain't gonna be another time again. So I agree with that. But yeah, it does speak a lot about his character, and, true forgiveness is tough. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, I forgive you, but true forgiveness, and it seemed like he was being very genuine. I mean, you have to forgive in order to move on and have peace. Poison is gonna only, poison only. What is that quote? Revenge or hatred is the poison that only poisons the vial that holds it. Like, you're not hurting the other person by hating them, and they made their own bed, and they're gonna have to lay in it. Never been a fan of Lucas, but his videos seem genuine. Okay, great. If he's winning over the haters, then not to call you a hater, bro, but if you're not a fan of him and you still feel that way, it's probably a good sign. And I agree. I've never been like a huge like fanboy of Lucas, but I've always liked his stuff. It's entertaining. Let's see here. How did he have her number, and how did it become an issue in the first time? How did he get to 3 times? Okay, I don't know. First of all, I have no idea, but I think that from the way he phrased it, it was 3 images. It doesn't sound like it was 3 separate times. I think it was just 3 images, but I don't know for sure. Let's see here. I bet they're 10 million plus. Maybe. Hopefully got paid pretty well for his shares, whatever that was left of his current shares. The current owners of Trex Arms are going to feel the burn. They will be begging Lucas to buy them out soon. Yeah, I agree. I think that the biggest mistake, if again, because this was the most recent mistake, was turning down his purchasing offers. I honestly don't think that they ever thought he would leave. I think that they thought either they would have to get some exorbitant amount of money in an offer from him, like retirement type situation money, or like, we're not going to sell because you're never going to leave. You are Trex Arms, and that was their critical error. I don't understand how he let his brother take control of his company. Would love to hear more details about that. Yeah, so would I. I don't know. Again, from the timeline, that the way he explained it, go watch the video and subscribe to his channel. But essentially, he started the company in 2013. In 2016, his brothers were already working in the industry, and they said that they wanted to come and become owners of Trex Arms. They drafted up a proposal, and he signed it. And I'm sure he didn't have a lawyer read it over. I'm sure it was like, hey, you're my brothers. It was probably one of those things where it was a combination of he didn't really know better. He was very busy, and there was a lot of trust for the individuals that were coming on board. And so it's easy to get taken advantage of when you're a very trusting and loving person. Sounds like he grew up, his dad's a pastor, is probably raised to love his family very much. And that's why it's so heartbreaking, in my opinion. Congratulations to his underhanded brothers that will soon own 51% of nothing. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately a very true statement. And I say unfortunately because, again, I don't know these people. I'm trying not to judge, but I also feel really bad for the employees of the company. Let's see. 3 texts and didn't get handled after the first one. They are pushing prenups. This is a Jerry Springer episode, and I think Lucas isn't telling us everything. It does seem very much like, and we have the employee who sent the text message here. Bring him out. I would love to see that, actually. Wait, Trex makes holsters? I thought they only made cringe YouTube content. Okay, well, I'm guilty of that too, so I can't really say much there. Holsters are pretty much a dime a dozen at this point. Yes, I agree. Yeah, this was the unfair treatment that he pointed out. They demanded Lucas get a prenup, and they didn't have them with their wives. Come on. Well, in all fairness, I think they were already married before this whole business venture started. But yeah, I mean, he did explain that they eventually got postnups, but they never really apologized to his wife. It seems like he just felt like very slighted and disrespected, and that's fair. Like, luckily, my wife is a saint, and my family very much welcomed her with open arms, but I could only imagine if that wasn't the case. That sounds like a lot of what was happening with Lucas is that he met his wife, and I think he's one of the younger brothers of 7, which again is another thing I did not know. And I'm the youngest of 4, and I understand that sometimes your older siblings kind of always look at you as a little bro. Like, they don't look at you as a man, as a businessman. Luckily, again, my family does. I love them very much, but it sounds like there was a lot of like, hey, little bro, you just met this girl, we don't like her, whatever, like kind of that condescending, we know better type attitude. But again, just from knowing Isaac on camera, I mean, it seems like a very good thing for the Second Amendment community. But again, I don't know all the details, so it's very hard to tell. Mr. Orange coming in with heat. Maybe his wife is acting up. Who gets 3 texts of nudes and not have it handled after the first one? Again, I think it was just one. I thought it was. I mean, it sounded like it was one message with 3 images. But I don't know. Something definitely off here. I know most people are on Team Lucas, but there's definitely more to this. Maybe we'll see more come out from the brothers. Maybe again, this is one-sided kind of so far because the brothers haven't said much. Isaac came out with a video that was extremely vague and left out a lot of major details, like it was a son of one of the owners, whether it was his or the other brother, and it was Lucas's wife. Those are pretty like important details. Like somebody close to Lucas and an employee are very different than my son or my nephew and my sister-in-law. Like those are very different things. So maybe they will come out with more information. Not sure if I believe everything from his side of the story at face value, to be honest. Again, I don't know him personally, but I feel like for him to come out and say all that, like, what does he have to gain to like he, if none of that was true and he was just like sick of the business, he would still be very successful. Like, I don't think he needs to lie to like gain favor from everybody. Like if Lucas just said, I'm sick of making holsters, I want to do something else, like people, I think people, the fans of Lucas would still respect him and support him wherever he went. So I don't know. That's that's one of the reasons I believe it, because it's a lot harder to come out and say all that. And again, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Yeah, you could tell he looked hurt and betrayed by his own blood. Look, I think Lucas is many things. One thing I don't think he is an actor or a liar, and maybe he's got me fooled too, but he did seem very genuine, very authentic, and I don't think he's the type of person that can put on and act like that. Just personally, I think he's like a very analytical, engineering type mindset person, and those people usually have a hard time showing emotion. And the emotion that he showed was it got me going. It got me feeling really like I felt betrayed for him. I felt that empathy. So, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. So, your whole family to Mr. Orange coming in hot. I'm trying to keep this light, try not to judge here. And you're like, man, I don't know. Your whole family telling you this? I don't know, man. Okay, fair. I've definitely told some family members, not my blood brothers and sisters, but I've had some cousins and stuff that I've been like, hey, sure you want to get married to this person? So you got a point. There's three sides to this story: Lucas's, his brothers, and the truth. That's true about every story. But usually there's one person who is in the wrong, who bends the truth more than the other person. That's all I'll say about that. Let's see. I've seen so many naive young dudes get manipulated by a clever chick, just saying. Okay. Ooh. George, one hair is stronger than 10 men. I think Lucas might be a victim to it. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Clang and bang. It takes a lot of faith and courage to step away from something that you put so much time and passion into. Again, I kind of equated this to my much smaller YouTube channel, which is not a multi-million-dollar company that makes actual products. And yeah, it would be heartbreaking. So I got respect for him. But again, I think he's going to be successful wherever he goes. I'm not even going to put this one on screen, Hustler Bones. That's too much right now. All right, these comments are getting pretty long here. Let's see here. All right, let's take a little break from this real quick. When's the 11.5 Spear video coming? I'd like to know how you got that thing dialed in, if you plan on putting a different jet screw in the gas block. So yeah, it's coming soon. I was hoping to film it today, but again, all this stuff popped up. I'll just say it real quick. Omega valve from JBD Designs. It has the solid set screw in it. I have it on setting 2, and it is running really nicely. I do plan on experimenting with some gas jet screws from PMM just to finally tune it up a little bit more, but let's get back to topic. Huge mistake. Yes, I agree. Threw away my Trex hat and stickers. So I grew up in Ohio, and when LeBron left Cleveland, everyone burned their jerseys, and then LeBron came back to Cleveland, and everyone went out and bought jerseys again. So just be careful how much you burn, Basement Ops. Not saying he's going to come back, but they may, again, be begging him to buy it back soon, and there may be a resurrection of the dinosaur. Let's see. I never watched Lucas's videos, to be honest. I only watch Isaac's content. Isaac does good stuff. I like I like all the stuff he's doing. He's actually like lobbying for gun rights, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see. I'll let time tell the truth. We will see. Yeah, we will. I mean, it's a very private matter, and to put it all out there on the internet, again, it just opens you up and leaves you very vulnerable. That's again the reason I think it's got to be authentic from his side, because why else would you create this drama? Doesn't sound like he's a very drama filled person, but again, I don't really know him personally. I hope he got a prenup. Yeah, he did. That was part of the video. He talked about this prenup. Sounds like he wasn't a very sharp businessman, to be honest. I think that was kind of what he said got him into the situation. Yeah, he was very clear about the fact that he just trusted his brothers and that he didn't understand what majority ownership was. So, yeah, he kind of got himself there, I guess. I agree, JL. I mean, you could make an argument that if somebody is so good at what they do, they don't have to bring in capital investment, like put money into the business in order to get ownership in it. But it's a pretty bad business move, in my opinion. Again, I don't know how old Lucas was. I'm guessing it was like 2021. And he was just like probably just nose to the grindstone in the business and just trusted his family wouldn't take advantage of him. But there's an old saying, like, never do business with family. And I feel pretty strongly about that, because money is the root of all evils. It corrupts everything. And he was already doing the thing. So it's not like I think he just needed help, and he was probably overwhelmed, and he gave into, I don't want to say like taking the easy route, but it's like he's got his two brothers here who are already doing things successfully in the business. And he's like, hey, come help me grow this. So I agree with that. His wife is sus, TBR. Okay, maybe so. Great question. How did the guy have his wife's number? I mean, dude, phone numbers are pretty easy to get. It sounds like he was Lucas's nephew, so like family. I don't know. It does beg the question, though. Did he ever mention if it was a text? Could have been a social media app. Yeah, very well could have been social media. I don't think he specifically said a text. I think he said she received messages. Let's see. The odd thing, not mentioning his father, is the head of the executive board. Yeah, that is weird. I did not know that. If that's true, I did not know that. And it seems like a pretty important detail. So Lucas started a company. His whole family was like, hey, let's hop on this gravy train. Sounds like a good old case of the Lorax. Sorry, I watched Lorax a million times with my kid. The Onceler. Sounds like the Onceler's family. Once his need took off, they all came in, guns blazing, built the business up, and then once got to the point where, you guys got to watch the Lorax. Good movie. All right. Forget having her number. It's kind of psychopath randomly text a married woman. Yeah. Let's see. His wife is very independent, blue hair, and never fit the Bodkin standard. Look up the Bodkin sisters, and it will lead you down a hole of the family dynamic, which most call a cult. Okay. Did not know that. I'll have to look that up now. I just know Lucas from YouTube, so I haven't actually Googled them or tried to look into it any further. These comments are getting pretty long. Let me skip ahead a little bit here. Yeah, if you work together, people exchange numbers. Yeah, but she didn't work there. That was one of the things that Lucas brought up, was that she had applied. No one even replied to her resume. The HR manager, like, no one even acknowledged that she had applied. He said he removed himself from the decision-making process to hire his wife, even though one of the other brothers' wives already worked at Trex Arms, but she never worked there. So But yeah, I agree. If it's family, like it's not strange to have like your I have my nephew's number, you know. So maybe at the time their capital helped Lucas get T-Rex where it is. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that they didn't bring any money into the picture. That's what he said. He said exec's son, not owner's son, therefore not a nephew. Okay. Maybe I missed that detail. Sorry. If I did, I'll have to go back and double check that. Somebody let me know. Lucas sounded very sincere, but we need to hear both sides of the story. I agree. I think that Lucas's video was very sincere, but it just begs the question, why didn't Isaac put out more information in his video? Again, I think it goes back to them just continually underestimating Lucas and what he's willing to do to protect his family and his own his reputation. I don't want to say protect his reputation, but protect his family and their integrity, as he puts it. That's a more wholesome way to say it than your reputation, because reputation insinuates what other people think about you. Integrity insinuates like what you think about yourself and your own fortitude, I guess. So yeah, I just don't know why Isaac would not go scorched earth if it wasn't a T-Rex issue, or he didn't feel like him and his brother were really at fault, or that I really think it was just them underestimating Lucas and his response. I don't think they thought Lucas was ever going to come out and say all that he said on camera to everyone. Again, Lucas said he's not burning all his T-Rex hats and stuff, but he did go pretty scorched earth on them. So I mean, he can say he's not trying to sink the ship, but I think that it would be impossible for him to not be so hurt that he's like, all right, good luck, boys. Like, you wanted it, you didn't take my offer. Here you go. This is what happened, and I'll let the world decide if they want to keep doing business with you. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he has a million followers yet. He's got, when I checked, it was like 45,000, but surely after all this information comes out, I'm sure, that a lot of people are going to be making videos about this. I'm sure my buddy over there, John at Focus Trip, and I'm sure Ben Stager, I'm sure there's going to be tons, like endless videos talking about this. And of course, people are going to keep going and subscribing to his channel as they should. Like, if nothing else, he puts out pretty good content. Again, I want to see what he does, but yeah, he's going to do fine. That's what I think. Lucas and his wife just started a reality show. I just read the end. Okay. I'm going to get that off screen. Sounds like his wife is toxic. I mean, look, from Lucas's perspective, again, I don't know them, but the way I see it from the outside with very limited information, the way he's been convinced, if he's been convinced, if he's been tricked, but the way he actually feels, like I could see that he actually feels this way, is that he was being taken advantage of for the majority of his career. He was being treated as the little brother. He was being treated as a second-class citizen, essentially. And his wife came into the picture and was like, hey, you're being taken advantage of. You need to stop that because this isn't right. This isn't fair. There's no equity here and how you're being treated. And you're the guy who started the company. You are the face of the company, which is all true as far as like him being the guy. So it sounds like he just had the wool pulled over his eyes and was getting gaslit for a long time by his family and being convinced that like, hey, we're all family here. We all need to support each other. So you need to give up your equity here and give it up there and do this for us and do that for us. And oh, by the way, we're majority owners. So whatever you want to do you don't get the final say. And it sounds like his wife just brought that to light. Like that's just taught him how to stand up for himself, I guess you could say. Again, you could look at it however you want, but from one Lebanese man to another, his ownership was diluted by his brothers. All you need to know. Yeah, I mean, I'm American, but I'm Lebanese descent. So thanks. Shout out my Lebanese brother. Yeah, I think that his brothers really came in and screwed him over. I mean, quite frankly, outside of like the whole picture issue, like if you get rid of the whole, like his wife got a picture from an executive son. So maybe it wasn't his nephew. If you get rid of that whole piece of the pie, it still sounds like this was a long time coming, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. So, and all this was happening in the background. Like nobody, I mean, sounds like a very private, I don't think anyone really knew about this besides like people who are high up in the company, probably saw the drama on a daily basis. Again, he brought up people being like, well, do I work for Lucas or do I work for the other brothers? And so again, it sounds like the photo thing was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, I don't think it probably would have gone on a little bit longer, but I think eventually Lucas would have had to come to the conclusion that he was going to have to leave Trex either way. I don't think the photos were the reason. I think it was just a piece of the puzzle, as he mentioned. Yeah, this is a good point. His family is treating his wife as though she's out to take from him, when in reality, they were plotting to steal what he had already built. This is kind of how I feel about it, because it's like it's very much like I hate to use the word abuser, but like it's usually the person who has something to gain who's like, hey, you can't trust this other person. You can't trust them. We don't trust them. Why are you putting all your eggs in this basket? They want something from you, and they're trying to position themselves as the person who's here. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you by taking 51% of your company and determining the direction of the company and turning down your buyout offers and everything else. So that's a really good point, I think, as well. I'm really glad I did this as a live now, because this is a lot more fun than just doing I was going to do a real talk, but I wanted to hear from you guys. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it seems like his wife was the one who was teaching him to stand up for himself, and his brothers were like, hey, we don't like this girl. She's teaching him to stand up for himself and understand his value and what he deserves, and we don't like that. So we're going to ostracize her. We're going to disrespect her and treat her poorly. And yeah, that's what it really sounds like to me as an outsider. And I know a lot of people are like, sounds like she's toxic. It's like easy to like hate the woman or put the blame on the wife, especially in this industry. It's like, she doesn't know anything about guns. Like, she's coming in here trying to break up this good family business. But it sounds like he was just getting screwed over from like a long time ago, and he just never really understood the extent to which he was getting taken advantage of. So in simple terms, they took advantage of Lucas at a young age. Lucas's wife is business savvy, and that put the nail in the family's abuse. Yeah, sounds like she came in and pointed out some very obvious, that would be very obvious to an outsider. But Lucas, being the youngest of seven, or one of the younger brothers of seven, always probably having that family mindset, family first, kind of just didn't think anything different of it, and just like, this is just normal. Like families will take ownership of the company. Like, we're all in this together. And she was like, well, wait a minute. This is your company, but it's not anymore. And they want me to sign a prenup, but none of their wives have post-nups, and so on and so forth. Okay, this guy's back at it again. I met my wife, and she taught me about transactional relationships and gaslighting and manipulation. Reddest flag. Yeah, women are just a lot. I mean, women are just wired differently than a lot of men. Women are wired differently than men, but certain women, women, the way women interact is like all gaslighting. Like if like my wife barely has any female friends, because females tend to be extremely dramatic and like they're just. Look, I know I'm generalizing right now. I'm not going to put this. I'm going down a very dangerous path right now. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is women just interact with women who are friends, who have women friends. Like, they see a lot more of this type of behavior. And coming from a different background, I think it sounds like Lucas grew up in a very Christian home, big family. His dad was a pastor. I can only imagine what that's like. And you hear stories about it all the time. People growing up where their dad is the pastor, right? Who knows what that was like for Lucas? I think it was more so she just grew up in probably a more normal environment. She's a woman. She's dealt with these types of things. She's been gaslit. So I think it's an unfair thing to say, like, well, she came in and saw all these obvious things that would be obvious to like literally anybody that was an outsider, and then pointed them out to Lucas, and now she's manipulating him. Like, I think that's a pretty unfair assumption. So you got to look up the Bakken family and Bakken sisters. It will put things in perspective about his wife, old school traditional stuff. Okay. So in your opinion, sounds like they just didn't like that she's like a new school type woman, I guess, and they were trying to push her out for that reason. Thankfully, I'm poor and not creative. I don't have to deal with this. Yeah, that's one thing to be thankful for sure. Let's see. I believe Lucas and Kira, is that how you pronounce that? Kira were dating when Lucas still had majority ownership. She saw what Lucas's brothers were doing to him, and she brought it to light. That's what it sounds like. Got to remember, Lucas was homeschooled and his family dynamic. They are all the same, but his wife is totally different, and he's learning things from her that he may have never experienced. Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think that she would see things like if I walked into that business and saw everything that was going on, I'd be like, "Hey, why are your brothers putting no money into the business but getting more and more ownership?" That's what I would have literally been like, "Okay, well, this doesn't really make sense. Like, what are they bringing to the table besides their time, which you're also investing?" I don't really understand that. No one should question Lucas's relationship. They should question why the employee who sent the pick was protected for months until Lucas said enough. The father of the man who sent the pick resigned. Okay. So did the I thought it was an employee there who sent the pick, and it was also like the father and the employee worked there. But again, hopefully Isaac or T-Rex Arms will clear up some of these things, because I think that, and I also want to respect. I mean, this all just came out, so that's why I'm doing this video. But I also want to respect the fact that Lucas is like, hey, I want to put this behind me and move on, and because I have bigger and better things to do with my time than just relive the past, which I really respect. And so I don't want to like make this a whole thing, like, but it is a whole thing. Like Ben Steger said it best. It's going to be a whole thing. This is a whole thing already, but I have a lot of respect for him. He's like, look, here's what happened. Here's why it's so heartbreaking. Here's why I feel the way I feel, but I need to move on. I have other things I want to do already. I'm very excited about, and so I have a lot of respect for that. It was the non-family owner's son. Okay. Let's see. Wrapping up my thoughts. That's enough comments for now, guys. I think that at the end of the day, this is going to sink T-Rex Arms, in my personal opinion. I think that the owners should have definitely taken Lucas's buyout. I don't see any future in which people continue to support T-Rex Arms after all this drama. Maybe they'll stick around, just be a much smaller outfit. I feel bad for a lot of the people that currently work there. If I were you, I'd probably be looking at other options. I'm sure, given the popularity of this event, this drama, you'd probably be able to find work, I'm sure, somewhere else if you were a good employee. But it's just hard based off your location. I believe they're based in Tennessee. So, yeah, I mean, like, plot twist would be really cool if Lucas down the road, or like in a few months when T-Rex was really tanking, which is what I think is going to happen, got the chance to buy it back for a discounted price. I think that would be kind of poetic justice, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I think that all of this just goes to show you shouldn't do business with family. It's just better. Like, I'm a better son when I don't work for my dad. My dad has a great thriving construction business. I worked for him for a lot of my youth and I hated it. I was a bad son. I did not like the fact just working for family never works out, in my opinion, especially when you have, you know, I'm a younger version of my dad. Like, I'm the same person. So we butted heads all the time. And so bringing family in, like, if you value your family relationship, in my opinion, you should not do business with them. Like, they can be there to support you. I mean, if they give you a loan, let's say that you're going to pay back, that's another thing too. But like, even that is still really sketchy. I don't think that if you want to have a good relationship with your family, it's a good idea to do business with them. And also, Lucas is going to be just fine. I do worry about the employees at Trex. I don't want them to just, get forgotten about in this whole saga of drama, because they are really the real victims, I think, of this falling out. And I mean, that's kind of all I got to say about it. I really don't have anything else to bring up. I want to know what you guys think. So let me know down in the comments below. We have a bunch of live chats here. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And until next time, stay safe, stay dangerous. Christ is King. Take care.